with us. David Makali, you're back this week. Kipchumba Murkomen, as always, really good to see you. Let's jump straight into it. How do you think this book, Peeling Back the Mask, is going to affect Raila Odinga's chances at getting the presidency this week? Let me start with Kipchumba.
I mean, in the first instance, you must first divide the constituency. There are those who are Raila maniacs or his strong supporters. It's going to give them, you know, they are going to be hardened. They are going to work very hard to ensure that they campaign even twice, you know, more than what they would have done because of the book. There are those who don't like Raila or are not his supporters. They're going to be even more hardened to oppose him using the book as an excuse. The only people we are going to discuss about are those who are called the
middle ground.
The undecided. And in this country, there are not so many undecided people. And most undecided people are middle-class people and, you know, people who are in urban areas and so forth. And there are not so many as such. So that's the constituency that usually is the swing. And I think they are the ones who are going to be affected. To a great extent, it takes away from the Prime Minister, if he doesn't respond well, the reform tag. The question that he's a reformer, he's anti-nepotism and corruption. But if he is able to overcome that, then you know, he's going to go forward. But I think that's going to be the problem, because he was running away with the reform issue and corruption issue, and in my own opinion, it has been punctured. Right.
David, let me come to you with this.
Well, I would like to agree with what Murkomen is saying. I don't think the impact of this book is going to be great. It would have some initial, like it's having now, a bit of ripples here and there. But in the long term, I think I don't see it holding for two reasons. One is that the Prime Minister's side has already responded by clarifying on the key issues that are standing out, say the allegations of corruption. I saw the advert in the paper today, you know, putting out the three key, the Triton, the maize scandal, and the Kazi kwa Vijana, which are really like the smoking major scandals that are in that book relating to the Prime Minister. And then, of course, you saw a lot of responses from the PM side. That has had the impact of destroying a bit the credibility of the author, although a lot in the book has not been tackled. So it's still quite for those who will access it. So there's a bit of likelihood that the impact, the punch that the book was anticipated to have will weaken. Two, I think that because of the nature of the writing in that book, which is not journalistic, it is literary, I would say. It's not the claims and the allegations made by Miguna are not supported by documentation. It's about he knows or he had or he was told. Meaning, even it would have impact only if other people can pick it up and it spirals. But the fact that these claims are already even actionable in law, other people going to court, will force the opponents of the PM from latching on them and using them to pin him down. Because you never know when you become the target again of a suit if you repeat the defamatory things which have been said in the book. And then the fact that Miguna himself, before launching the book, had preceded it with a lot of threats and made it such a personal vendetta, has weakened the impact of what I think would have been a nice book, which has come out really like pointed, one-sided, and hammer. I mean, people are saying this is what was happening with the PM's office. But when these things happening, okay, on the PNU side, what was happening? For example, what was happening in Kibaki's court? Are we going to carry small things which happen or daily, you know, functioning of an office, and there's gossip and street talk, everything, carried to become like, you know, stuff that we want to
and yet very interesting, so because as Murkomen said, Raila Odinga was going for the reformer tag. So, you know, the impact is huge. But let's talk about the fact that Miguna himself is as big a story as the book, if not bigger. And that the perceptions of him as a person have certainly had an impact on the way people have received the book. But also, gentlemen, Mutahi Ngunyi pointed out, we're not really a reading culture, many people in this country. So there's going to be a lot of rumor, innuendo coming out of what we are calling rumor and innuendo in the book. Does that help or hamper this effort, Kipchumba?
I think, first of all, in my own, I mean, I've read the first few chapters. The first thing is to say that this book is not selling officially. You know, where I bought it from in the bookshop, it's being sold behind, and there's no receipt being issued.
Because of legal
Because of the legal issues. But second and most important is to say that...
Don't tell us where you bought it.
No, I cannot. Because they don't... But The second and most important issue is that you need to read the first few chapters to understand where Miguna comes from. If you read those chapters, he's a very bitter man, talking about his uncle whom he didn't forgive until he died, talking about the way he was tortured in Nyayo torture chambers. He even goes to an extent of listing who are the priority tribes in this country, and so forth. So if you see that bitterness, and that bitterness is being brought now to the writing of the book, I think in one way or another it's going to affect the credibility of the message that is presenting. But there's something here which I think is more serious. Miguna is alleging that he knows information that is related to the post-election violence.
ICC.
And this is not Miguna, this is the Miguna, the advice of the Prime Minister on ICC matters, who went to Kampala, New York, ICC itself, The Hague, and he's telling us that I have even better information. But then how he's presenting it is that it's like it's for bargain. He wants someone to buy him so that he can keep quiet. That's why he's saying, come, baby,
seems
come.
immoral.
Yeah, exactly. So it also punctures, you know, the messenger himself, but raises doubts on the question of ICC, whether really the people who are being tried are the only ones, or whether they really should have been tried, and whether we should go back and get him as a witness to clear that issue.
I don't even think that Miguna really has any information on this ICC thing. I think he's being boisterous, boastful.
He makes it clear, I think, that he does. And if indeed he does, those are serious issues.
If he knew, I think he would have put it in the book. There was nothing stopping him from putting that information in the book. Let's not take Miguna's word for everything.
It's the carrot.
It's the carrot. He's trying to use this, but entice people. But somebody might dare him and say, look, okay, bring out the information.
Which I think the security forces have
DPP
done, said.
And then maybe he has to come back and say whether he has got the information.
Yeah, so if that be the case, I think again it will take us back to the question of debate. The key thing is that those who are supposedly the opponents of the Prime Minister, and you are coming to the question of the reading culture, it's advantageous when people don't read such a book because it is rumors. And in this country, we are a rumor-mongering nation. Even someone who has not read the newspaper, he's heard from someone else who heard from another person, is taking it for gospel truth. And I think that it works well. But if the presidential candidates who are opposed to the Prime Minister pick these stories and use it to campaign, it loses meaning. Because then Miguna will be lumped together with them and say that it was, you know, the opponents of the Prime Minister. But if you leave it as a rumor, it has more impact than when you don't use it for campaign.
And yet the book cannot gain momentum without it being used by those same politicians, because then it will just fizzle out and die. Because as Murkomen appropriately pointed out, people are almost decided on where they stand politically. So whatever you're going to say about Raila in this book, the die-hard fans are going to stand there. The people who are anti-him might be influenced, but they're still stuck there. So the book, in the short term, in fact, in the whole of this election period, I don't see it having. The impact is likely to have.
Let me just add something there.
One sentence to each of you, and then we will.
My view is this. The impact the book is likely to have is with the foreign people looking in.
Okay. Who do not vote.
International community looking in and saying, this guy, we must check him again.
Okay.
But, it questions actually, why would someone want to hire somebody like Miguna?
That is interesting.
When
he was good.
When he was attacking others, that's the problem. When he was attacking others, he was good. When he attacks back, he becomes a bad person.
When he was the guard dog, he was useful. When he turned against the owner, it was a problem. Thank you so much.